Welcome to Business Focus, a production of the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Amy Marlow, and today we are very excited to welcome Michael Douglas to our show. Michael is the founder of Capital Connections. Michael, thanks for being here.
It's wonderful to be here, Amy. Business Focus, I think it's a great service to the community, and I'm just thrilled to be here.
Good. Well, we appreciate your time and are looking forward to learning about what is Capital Connections. What do you do?
Capital Connections, our tagline is that we simplify your connection to the federal government. And I grew up overseas, spent most of my life in the Middle East, and saw firsthand, and actually my wife did also, and we saw firsthand some of the challenges that a third world country has to go through: poverty, despair, injustice, all sorts of things like that. I then went into the Navy and has spent a couple tours in the Pentagon and worked at a small business. And there I saw a lot of the same challenges, and it just made me remember the kind of things that a small business is going through. So we started Capital Connections to help small businesses go through those things, to figure out what's the best way to get into the federal government, to, what our tagline says, to simplify your connection to the federal government.
So you're a problem solver.
We're a problem solver. We help figure out that maze,
Well, government contracting is such a huge industry, and especially in the DC area. So what makes you at Capital Connections stand out? What's your specialty?
There are a number of firms that are like ours, and we think that we're special for two reasons. The first is that we take a very analytic approach to marketing. A lot of folks just say, follow the money, and we would say you could spend a lot of time searching and following the money and be in the wrong forest. It's a matter of figuring out where is the best government agency and opportunity for you. Because if you're an 8A or you're a woman-owned small business or HubZone or you have some other competitive feature, it may be that a different agency would be a better bang for your buck. So I think a differentiating thing for us is this figuring out through some analysis what the best market strategy is. The second thing is that we really, we're a small business. We love small businesses, and so, we understand the challenges that they go through, and we help them with those.
Well, and we can't get any more time than we already have, so I would imagine that your ability to help the businesses understand the market is just so critical for their success.
Oh yeah, it's a tough business.
So, lots of headlines recently around sequestration, furloughs, everything happening at the federal level. How has that affected your business and your work with your clients?
Sequestration and debt ceiling and fiscal cliff and continuing resolutions and all these things make it a really tough environment right now. We tell people, a lot of people ask us, should we be trying to get into the government now with all this stuff going on? And here's what I say to them. If you were going to invest in the stock market and you saw the market zooming up and you went to your broker and you said, can you set me up a brokerage account? And they said, well, sure, but it'll take a year or two for us to do it. Wouldn't you be kind of upset that you were missing all that growth? Wouldn't you wish that you had done all of that investment of time and preparation on the down market? Now is a down market in the government. It's a perfect time to be preparing for your administrative stuff, your accounting, all your back-end systems to be government compliant, to be setting up relationships and figuring out market strategy and many of the other planning things that you need to do.
And do you expect it to pick back up then as we sort of wade through this sequestration process, or hard to tell?
The fact is the government doesn't build much themselves. They rely on contractors, and they have to.
They sure do.
And so, it's going to build back up. It has to. It's just the government has got to use contractors, and there's more and more push for small businesses. So we think it's going to, yes.
Well, and being in this area outside of the Beltway is right now a very good location because so many large contractors are moving out here. There seems to be such a lot of opportunity for smaller organizations.
There absolutely is, yeah.
It's exciting.
Oh, it's a very exciting time.
So what would be a piece of advice you would give, because a lot of our members are in the government contracting sector, to folks who are maybe thinking about trying to do business with the federal government?
I think I'd give two pieces of advice. The biggest one would be planning. There is so much that that can make things more complex in the government space.
And it's already complex.
Yeah, it's already complex, and so we try and simplify, our tagline, but it really is all about planning. It's planning your market strategy. It's planning a contract vehicle strategy. It's planning your recruiting strategies, security clearances, facilities, all of these things that can inhibit you from being able to get into where you want to go. We think planning is just a critical piece, and that's the top piece of advice. The second was one I've heard many times, and I just heard it the other day from a great guy named Wayne Gatewood at a conference. And he said, you have to always ask yourself this question: why should they pick me? Okay, so there's 100 contractors going after something. Why should the government pick you?
Right.
You and I pay taxes. We want the government to be as smart as possible about who they pick. Why should they pick you? Do you have the best skills, people, tools? Are you the lowest price? It's that value proposition, and you should always be asking yourself that question.
That gut check.
Exactly. What is your value proposition?
That's great advice. I think not only in your industry, but any industry at all, is always coming back around to what uniquely do I offer?
Yeah.
So real quick question to wrap us up. I can tell your business is really growing, very successful. You're doing a lot in the community. Is there one challenge or something that you've learned from that moving forward you can share in terms of something that you've picked up on?
Yeah, as a small business, our challenge is the same as everybody else's. It's focus. In the Navy, when you land on an aircraft carrier, they say keep your eye on the ball. There's a lighting system, and they call it the meatball, or nicknamed the ball, and you've got to keep your eye on the ball to be able to keep the plane on a glide slope for landing. It's the same for business. You've got to keep your eye on the ball. There's so many things that are out there to distract you. A Fed BizOps opportunity that pops up out of nowhere that you look at it and you say, wow, that's perfect for me. But you don't know that you may not have a snowball's chance of getting that thing because of other factors. You've got to focus on your strategy, on your goals, and what it takes to get where you need to go.
Well, that's great advice. And again, helpful for me, helpful for any industry. And thank you for your service to our country also. Your time in the Navy is appreciated.
Thank you.
And
this is wonderful to be here, Amy.
Good. Well, enjoy. Best of luck to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Again, this has been Michael Douglas with Capital Connections. I'm your host, Amy Marlow.